All right, welcome to this Q&A. Again, we want to welcome on to this Q&A. Question came in earlier. Passover's coming up, so we got another few weeks after what do you call it? After Purim. So you got Passover coming up. Someone had asked about cosmetics. Cosmetics for Passover, do I need them to be kosher for Passover? Doesn't matter, right? So by just in general, we know that food has to be kosher for Passover, right? That's for sure. Certainly very stringent about that. But what about cosmetics, perfume, aftershave, let's say, I don't know, deodorant, different things, right? So the first thing is that there's a total prohibition to keep any edible chametz, any leavened product made out of 5 grains, wheat, barley, spelt, rye, or oats, or anything that's going to lead to it to be chametz, to be leavened. You're not allowed to have it in your house, right? Total prohibition. Right, very clear. You're not allowed to see it. You're not allowed to have it in your position. Even something, let's say, that is a small amount of chametz, right? Doesn't matter. Even a small amount of chametz also going to be prohibited. So you either got to get rid of it, or you sell it to a non-Jew. Now, that being said, we're talking about something that is edible. Right now, how do we define it? How do we define something as edible that it would be fit to be eaten by a dog? Like if a dog wouldn't go near it, then it should be okay. In other words, if it's so spoiled or poison or whatever, let's say like stuff you would clean dishes with, or stuff that you would clean your oven with, anything like toxic like that, dog's never going to eat it, right? So something basically that's so spoiled or potent that a dog wouldn't eat, then it's not considered chametz. I could have it in my house, right? I could store it in my house. So it's something that, again, a dog, let's say the other way. Let's say a dog would eat it, but it's not fit for human consumption. Person would never eat it. Okay. Yeah, someone else might, i.e. an animal might. So therefore it's considered edible, right? Therefore, since it's considered edible, you're not allowed to have it, right? You wouldn't be allowed to have it. So therefore, any type, let's say, of ointment, hand lotion, nail polish, medicated drops, let's say, for the ear and nose, whatever, even if they would contain an active chametz ingredient, let's say alcohol, right? Main chametz ingredient is alcohol. Therefore, even if it would contain a little bit of chametz ingredients, it would be permitted to have them, store them, and use them. Now, why? Why would I be allowed to if there's chametz in it, even if it's a little bit? And the answer is the dog's never going to eat it. Right? It's not fit for consumption. Yeah. Basically, the Rambam says it's lost their form of chametz. Right? Basically, it's lost their chametz form over here. No one's going to eat it. Right? Person wouldn't eat it. Certainly, a dog would never eat it. But there are certain cosmetics, let's say eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, blush, or rouge, let's say foot powder, face powder, that again, a person could use. Right? A person could use. Now, why is that? Because again, it's not fit for animal consumption. No one would ever eat it. Now, if somebody was desperate, you'll say something that's alcohol. Yeah, it's got some alcohol in it. If somebody was desperate, they needed an alcohol fix. In theory, I'm not saying anyone necessarily going to do it, but someone desperate enough would do it if they were desperate enough, and that is they would They would, I don't know, dilute it enough to get the alcohol out of it. Let's say to sniff it, I don't know, whatever, whatever it is. Now that always bothered me because, why would someone do that? Obviously, you have to be pretty desperate to do it, but who's gonna do such a thing? Who's gonna do such a thing? So even if it had alcohol in it, but I have to be worried someone's gonna try and get, benefit from this alcohol that's in it, it's mixed in. So many years ago, unfortunately, the person was a Jew, that someone was wasn't alcoholic, and they did just this to get a high from alcohol. Again, you'll tell me it's not common, and most people don't do it, right? Right? That's true. That's true. But something that usually has alcohol in it would be prohibited to use or to store away unless you sell it for for Passover. So we said before that something not fit for consumption lost its chametz form. We could use it, could store it, could use it. Nonetheless, can't eat it, obviously, because if a person would eat it, its status gets elevated from what being inedible to edible. Now that would be a problem. That's like a person is like elevating something or upgrading, right? Upgrading this halachic status. You're changing it from something that you would never touch to something that now is edible. So, for instance, person had, let's say, bread, right? Obviously, you can't eat bread. What if the bread burns, right? Do I have to get rid of burnt bread? Do I have to sell it, right? Or do I have to, let's say, better? Do I have to dispose of it? Now, most people, probably all people, if the thing is like burnt to a crisp, no one's going to eat it, right? Not fit for consumption. Nonetheless, you're not allowed to eat it, right? You're not allowed to eat it. Why? Because by doing so, you're elevating it. By doing so, you're saying, since you're elevating it, you're saying it's edible, right? So that would be a problem. So now the question is, okay, if we're going to say that a person would not normally eat something, but now they elevated to something they would eat, right? Back to our question. Does this apply to something that is foul tasting? What is foul tasting in our case? Pills, unflavored liquid medication. So most rabbinic authorities would say not fit for consumption. Most people are not going to eat it, right? Unless obviously, you have to, but most people would never eat it. Nonetheless, you're not allowed to eat it. Why? Because when a person elevates that status, that medication is elevated to the status of what? Of being edible. It's one opinion. Second opinion is that applies only to food items which now are unfit. The person would never eat it, right? Person wouldn't eat it. So even though a person wouldn't eat it, it's only going to apply to those things that are unfit and now being reclassified. In other words, the person now is going to eat it is reclassifying it as something that now is edible, i.e., case of our charred bread, right? Most people would say they would never touch it. They won't eat it. Now, all of a sudden, the person comes and says, okay, I'm going to eat it. So that elevates it now. So now the question is, according to this difference of opinion, how do we deal with medication? Does medication come under this category or not? So the answer is it wouldn't. Why? Doesn't come under this category of elevating it because person taking that medication, they're not saying or reclassifying. Let's say better, they're not reclassifying saying, "Oh, now I'm making it edible." Why are they taking medication? Tastes like turpentine or who knows what. Why are they taking it? For one reason. They are taking it because they're in pain. They're taking it because they're sick, right? And what they're taking is something that in general is an edible. Very good. So you're going, oh, now they're making it edible. They're not making it edible. They're taking it because they're sick, right? This is what's going to get them better, right? Hopefully. Now, many rabbinic authorities in this case are lenient, but when possible, it's better to get medication that doesn't have chametz in, right? Better not to ingest it unless you absolutely have to. That's how stringent we are when it comes to chametz. There are rabbinic authorities, many rabbinic authorities that say you should be stringent. Now, what happens in a case? So it's better to get medication if possible. It doesn't have chametz in it. Now, let's say you can't, right? Let's say you can't, and the thing itself is foul tasting, right? Meaning it's bitter, right? You take a pill, I don't know, whatever it is that a person ingests tastes like turpentine, and everyone agrees it tastes like turpentine. Then a person should be allowed to take the medication. Should be allowed, but again, you have to. I would say you have to ask your local Orthodox rabbi in such a case because it's not so simple, right? It's not so simple. It's better, right? It's definitely better. It's better not to, right? I don't think there's any question. Definitely better not to, right? But if there's no other substitute, yeah, then there are leniencies. So what about coated tablets, flavored medication, nice tasting cough syrup? The cough syrup, nice tasting, needs rabbinic supervision because it's not just other ingredients to make it taste like turpentine. Something in there makes it taste good. I need rabbinic supervision. Regular cough syrup, that's just pure cough syrup. There's nothing else in it. You wouldn't need rabbinic supervision, right? You shouldn't need rabbinic supervision. The question is, the kosher Passover? No, it's a different issue, right? But any of these things, if they're coated, they're flavored, usually they're fit for consumption. Yeah, if it's fit for consumption, it's gonna be kosher for Passover. If it's not kosher for Passover, you shouldn't take it. So it's one of the last things. It's one of the last things I do before Passover is got my books, got my list. For different medications, different things. Whether it's if it is kosher for Passover, not kosher for Passover. Obviously the person doesn't have to die for it, right? That comes first. Your life comes first. You have no choice. You have no choice. But obviously better not to rely on this if you don't have to. Now, if a person is dangerously ill, then they could take it. That's not a problem, right? That wouldn't be a problem. That comes under pikuach nefesh, saving a life. If they're not dangerously ill, then again, it's better to take something that's chametz free, that does not have any chametz in it, right? Flavored lipstick, in this case, it's considered fit for consumption. Flavored, right? You think, come on, who would ever eat it? That's not the question. People would, It's flavored. It's something that a person may eat. Even if most people don't, it doesn't matter. The fact that it's flavored, if it tastes like turpentine, good, no one's going to eat it. The only reason you're going to take it, let's say, is for the sake of medication. So that's a different issue. But here, if something tastes good, right? Let's say you're flavored syrup or whatever, cough syrup, right? Same thing. So there's another issue, right? Just speak about all these issues here. And that is that, let's say something you bought is not fit for consumption, let's say, but I can fix it. I can make it fixed. I could fix it to make it edible. Either I could cook it, distill it, add certain ingredients to it. So now there's no question. Do we consider it unfit for consumption? And the fact that you added something to it made it fit for consumption, but really it's unfit for consumption. right? Or do we say no? Do we say the fact that it's got the ability in the future to be fixed, then it's considered like food. So we are, in general, we are stringent on this. So therefore, if you had, let's say, pure grain-based alcohol, yeah, if it was in its raw state, no one would drink it, right? Nobody would drink it. Nonetheless, you can't have it. Why? Because all you need to do is distill it. No matter if you know how to do it or not, right? But the fact is, if it could be done in the future, then it makes it forbidden, right? Because it's going to make it fit for consumption. Same thing with denatured alcohol, right? It's alcohol mixed with small quantities of certain chemicals, whatever these chemicals are, and they can be restored to the original status, right? Which, according to many rabbinic authorities, that's fit for consumption because you can fix it, right? That, even though right now, again, nobody would eat it. Doesn't matter. The fact is, in the future, someone could do something, and do that, distill it, right? Like someone wanted to do with, a certain perfume or whatever, distill it to get the alcohol out of it, right? Either most people wouldn't do it. Doesn't matter. The fact is, you could. But not all cases. It's going to reach that, that fixed status, so to speak, right? But nonetheless, you don't know, right? You don't know. Sometimes it would be, sometimes not. So again, anything that would be containing denatured alcohol, right, should be sold with chametz. Even if, the question is, if in the future someone could do something to it, then it's better to sell it. Then it's better to sell it. Now, that's going to apply, right? That's going to apply in something that is, let's say, purely a liquid. Now, there are exceptions. Let's say cologne or hairspray, deodorants, shaving lotion. Let's say soaps, creams. I don't know, hand lotions, some type of ointments. That wouldn't be, a problem because even if you would try and, dilute it, so to speak, or distill it, let's say better, ain't no one going to eat it, right? No one's going to use it. And there are certain things, let's say shampoo is a good example, maybe, I don't know, ink, maybe paint, something like that, you're never going to be able to restore it to its original alcoholic state, no matter what you do. You distill it, you do other things, it's not going back to its original state, therefore I could use it. I could store it on Passover, even though it may contain chametz. And the reason, again, is because it can't go back to anything, right? It's not going to go back to anything that's going to be, it's not going to be fixed up, right? Let's say. Now, alcohol being a problem over here doesn't mean that something that has alcohol in it necessarily is chametz. There are certain types of alcohol, let's say methanol or isopropyl, certain types of alcohol, they have no chametz. They have no chametz component whatsoever, or ethanol for that matter, right? Ethyl alcohol, right? Also, it's not always derived from a grain, but sometimes where does it come from? Right? Many times comes from chemicals. Very good. Doesn't come from grain. If it comes from grain, it'd be, that would be more of an issue. But again, you're gonna say, okay, who knows these things? So you need experts, right, who know these things. That's why you have these lists for Passover. You got experts that look into it to see where the stuff comes from, how it's used, right? And all that. So perfume, space product is unfit to use. No one's gonna drink it or whatever. But if it gives off a nice smell, which probably a lot of these do, then it's considered like it's fixed up because it has nice smell, and it's a derivative of chametz. So some say, well, you look at perfume in general, what is the purpose? Smell, right? Give off a nice smell. And that smell, you got to think, no one's going to eat the smell, very good. You're going to smell it though, right? The fragrance is considered fit for consumption. Again, Someone's not going to take this perfume, open it up, and start, swigging it. Not going to drink it, right? It doesn't matter. It's considered at that point, because of the fragrance, fit for consumption. Therefore, perfume cannot be classified as unfit because, again, you're getting benefit from the smell. Now, other rabbinic authorities would say, forget about the smell. There's no, there's no consumption over here. It's a smell, right, so to speak. So other rabbinic authorities would disagree because, again, the base of perfume is not fit for consumption. So it comes out like a difference of opinion. So really, a person should be stringent, right, and only get products that do not have a nice smell because the derivative is from chametz. Now, there is medication out there that contains kitnius. Kitnius is comes from legumes, which Ashkenazim don't eat on Passover. Sephardic people do. They'll eat rice, beans, other things. Right? Ashkenazim will not eat them. So there are medications that may have some of these byproducts in it. So if you're Sephardic, then you could eat them, right? You could take them if needed. So toiletries, cosmetics, which contain kitnios, can also be used, again, because these things are never going to be eaten. They're not fit for consumption, right? Anything not fit for consumption, as long as it cannot be fixed in the future, either by distillation or something else, then not only could I keep it for Passover, I don't have to sell it, I could use it, right? But not, it's not a problem. Now, keep in mind, again, this is general guidelines, but just, keep in mind, we said there's a leniency over here of something that is unfit for consumption. Now, when we mention that leniency, it doesn't mean across the board anything that's unfit for consumption, not only can I have, I can use. Right? So it's not a blanket permissibility to say, oh, see, it's unfit for consumption, medication, I can use any medication or any cosmetic, that I want to pass over. Not true. Right? It's better, as we said before, it's definitely better to use something that's kosher for Passover. Now, if a person can't and they have an obligation to take it, it's like saving a life, then yeah, right? So then they could take it. I know my rabbi is very stringent, on Passover, takes all kinds of medication. He should be well. And he says, he would tell me, before Passover and after Passover, I got to pray for him because he doesn't take his medications. Doesn't take medication on Passover. So I, got to pray harder that, he should be well. But, again, if it would be something that you have to take and you have no choice, right? Otherwise, it could kill you. Okay. Right. Then, there's no mitzvah, to be stringent over here for the sake of that, it's like, you're forfeiting your life. You could get sick. So, or very sick or put your life in danger. That you're not allowed to do. Right. That's what you're not allowed to do. So, as we said, this is not a blanket permissibility, right, over here. But even though there are medicines and many products that fall into this category, you have to consider other factors, whether it's an edible product that it can be permitted or not, right? If it contains alcohol, that can be restored, right? It can be distilled, even if most people don't do it. Doesn't matter. The fact is, it can be restored, right? It can be distilled. So therefore, if that's true, and they are scented with a chametz derivative, right? Then you shouldn't use it or have it in your possession on Passover. You should sell it, right? So different kashrus organizations, certainly in the States, have a list. They always have a list every year of medications that are kosher for Passover, and other things as well. Whatever, whatever they may be, right? That a person, that a person either could use, or not. Yeah. All right, let me take some questions here. Somebody asks, can you wear a talis katan? Should it be tucked in? So I would say, if a non-Jew is going to convert, they're in the process of conversion, then they can wear it. If they're not in the process of conversion, they shouldn't wear it. Right? Now, if you're going to wear it, doesn't have to be tucked in. Well, the Torah says, third paragraph, as we say in the third paragraph of the Shema, that we mentioned tzitzis 3 times. The mitzvah of tzitzis 3 times in the third paragraph. And after you say it for the third time, you say that you should see them. Now, what does seeing them mean? Means they should be out. Right? That they should be out. So I would say most Orthodox Jews, you see their tzitzis. Based on that verse. Right? Based on the verse to see it. Now, do you fulfill the mitzvah? Let's ask a little bit different. Let's say you didn't do that. Let's say, I don't know, you're nervous, you don't want people to say anything, whatever it is. So let's say you tuck them in. Nobody can see them. Right? Does that nullify the mitzvah? Does not nullify the mitzvah. Right? If a person wore them tucked in, does not nullify the mitzvah. Better to leave them out. If you don't want to leave them out, for whatever reason, you tuck them in, okay, you still fulfill your obligation. Okay. Can I put the talis katan on before washing my hands after waking up? No. Just kidding. First thing you have to do is you wake up, you wash your hands, right? Right? Then, a person would go to the bathroom. After that, say the blessing of washing the hands, say the blessing of, coming out of the bathroom. Some say the blessings over the Torah at that point. But, then you want to start getting dressed. Yeah, then you put on tzitzis right after, but not before washing your hands. Washing your hands comes first. That's the first thing. That's the first thing the person's going to do. They're going to wash their hands, right? Obviously, we're talking about a guy here because women don't wear tzitzis, right? It's a mitzvah bound by time. Women are exempt, so they don't wear tzitzis. And even if a person would say, well, we still want to do it, we want to take it on, blah blah blah. Today we'd look at it as a male garment. So since we look at it as a male garment, right? So the Torah says clear, a woman can't wear a male garment and vice versa. Right? A man, no cross-dressers either way. Right? Or let's say better. No cross-dressers. A man can't, dress like a woman. Right? So therefore there are things that are forbidden for men to do because it's like what women do. And there are things that are forbidden for, that men do that are forbidden for women. That'd be forbidden for women. Now, so that being said, first question is that should you put on tzitzis before washing your hands? No. You wash your hands first, then you put on tzitzis. There are some, I'm not taking a survey, but there are some that, to guard themselves at night when they sleep, they wear tzitzis. Guys wear tzitzis when they sleep, right? The vast majority of people do not do that. So, if a person wore tzitzis all night, they slept with tzitzis, okay, so then you wouldn't have an issue. Right, but if you want to make a blessing, you have to take them off and put them back on. In order to make the blessing, that's a different issue. But the issue here is that first thing you do when you wake up is to wash your hands. You do not put on tzitzis before. You do not put on tzitzis before. Right? Or, so the obligation is, the first thing you want to do is take away that impurity, right? So you wash your hands, men and women, same thing, no difference, right? We wash our hands for one or two reasons, either because the person touched a part of their body that's normally covered, so therefore you have an obligation to wash your hands, or we look at it that a person's soul was in heaven and different spiritual worlds when it came back to its body when you woke up, if you woke up, right? Then it's like being a new body. It's like being recreated again. So on that, it's like being a new person. Then you'd wash your hands. Different reasons why, right? Different reasons why, but certainly according to the first reason, that if a person would touch a place, a place that is normally covered, yeah, right? Person touched their foot, touched their knee. Again, if it's bare, not if it's covered, right? Then you would have to wash. You don't make a blessing on it, but you would have to wash, right? So anyone seen Orthodox Jews, they want to scratch their head, they go like this with their yarmulke. They don't scratch their head. They take off the yarmulke and scratch their head. Why not? Because then you have to wash, because your head's normally covered, right? That these things apply both to men and women. No difference. Right? Absolutely no difference. So I'll say like this: if a person's learning, they touched an area that's normally covered. Yeah, let's say, do they have to get up straight away and wash? Right? You got an obligation to wash. Your hands now are impure. You have to wash. Okay. But what if you're in the middle of something juicy, so you want to continue to learn. So good, right? So you continue learning what you're learning, then you go wash, right? Obviously it's better do it straight away. But if a person who's in the middle of something, right? The middle of learning or whatever, you don't have to get up straight away to wash, right? Better to. I would never say better, but if you're in a certain train of thought or whatever, then you don't have to get up straight away, but sometime afterwards, sometime afterwards, you would have to get up and wash. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that we mentioned before. I think I've spoken about this before, but any case doesn't matter. There's the Torah says that a guy is not allowed to do wear women's clothing, and women are not allowed to wear men's clothing, right? So so a Jewish woman wouldn't apply to a non-Jew per se. That a Jewish woman, pants are men's clothing, right? So pants are men's clothing, very good. So what if a woman, let's say, I got this question before, what if she wears something that's unisex? Yeah, meaning it's not for men or for women. So I would say like this: if we'll keep this clean, if it shows a split between the legs, then that would be forbidden. If it's something, let's say, that like looks like a skirt, that you can't tell, you can't see, that you can't see there's a split. Yeah, so that should be permissible, right? That should be permissible. Can a guy look in a mirror? You're gonna say, well, what's the problem looking in a mirror? Right? Looking in a mirror, that's what women do, right? A woman can spend, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, getting themselves ready before they go out. So what if a guy looks in the mirror? Is that permissible? Is that like what women do? So if a guy looks in the mirror and he wants to see, doesn't look like a schlep, right? Meaning that, wants to make sure it looks okay, whatever. So that's fine. That's fine. If, they're sitting looking for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, looking like this, looking like that, looking like the other thing. Okay, like there's a limit. There's a limit because that's what, that's what women do. So looking to make sure you're clean, your clothes are clean or whatever, that's not a problem. Right? Right. That is that's the way it is. What about a guy? What about a guy that wants to, let's say he's got a unibrow. He's got a unibrow, right? He's got one eyebrow, right? A lot of hair in between. Is he allowed to trim it? Right? Plucking eyebrows would be forbidden. That's what women do. Right? Can they trim it because it looks bad? Or would they be allowed to trim it, let's say, because they want to get married, right? They want to get married and it looks so good, right? They want to meet somebody, unibrow. There are people that have unibrows, so not so attractive, right? Let's say not so attractive. Are they allowed to trim it? They're allowed to trim it for that reason. Or even, let's say they're not dating. Let's say they're already married. Doesn't matter. Let's say they're already married. So they're going to say they don't need to trim it. Or what if it bothers them? It bothers them. That's another, so that should be all right. Right? That should definitely be all right. So there are a lot of things that come up, in this category, body piercing. Can a guy get his ear pierced? Is there any problem with a Jew getting ear pierced? Right, a guy. So you say women wear earrings, very good. Or wear a ring. Can a guy wear a ring? So in one Orthodox community, you'll see guys that wear wedding ring. Right? They'll say back in the day, men wore rings. Right? Okay. But the custom is we don't do it. Right? In a modern Orthodox community, you'll see men do that. And sometimes in modern Orthodox weddings, you'll see this like a double ring ceremony. Meaning the husband or the groom gives the ring to the bride, right? And he has to say, "You are consecrated to me like the laws of Moses," right? He puts it on her finger. You got two witnesses watching it, seeing that it's done. Very good, right? And then afterwards, usually it's not really done. I wouldn't say it's really done in public. She may hand him a ring to wear. Yeah, that's what's done by them. In the other Orthodox community, it's not done. We don't wear rings. Men don't wear rings, don't wear chains, don't wear any jewelry, because it's similar to what women do. The question that comes up more frequently than not, that some women will ask about, nose piercing. So is there a problem with nose piercing? So the obvious thing they say is shouldn't be a problem because Rivka said the Torah said she had nose piercing. Okay, that's true. That's true. So I would say that even though that is true, right, it's not a thing that's necessarily done. But I can't say 100%. 100% it's forbidden. In Orthodox schools, all things being equal, they don't allow girls to pierce their noses. Right? There are some that struggle with this or struggle with what's it called with some modesty laws or whatever. So they'll have multiple piercings, multiple earrings. So there is limitation what a person, what a woman can do. Usually the rule of thumb is that if they pierce their ears, the earrings should be they shouldn't be loop earrings, right? They should go in the ear and not droop, right? Not go below the ear. Now there are some, there are some I would say they're definitely more modern, no question. Like they'll wear big loops, big hoops, let's say. So the problem, and technically you'll say, well, they have their ears pierced, why can't they do it? Right? What's the issue? So I would say, if it's inconspicuous, doesn't go below the ear, nobody's looking. Yeah, I'm just, I have a picture in my mind because, I've seen this person, I haven't seen them in a long time, but I used to see them, person worked in a certain store, and whatever, she was, I would say more, definitely more modern, no question. Nail polish and other things and whatever, but it doesn't really matter. But I mean, she wore these huge hoops. I mean, it was like very hard not to notice. You know, when I say huge, I mean huge. I mean, it's like, bigger than the size of her ear. I mean, like these like humongous hoops. Yeah, that draws attention. Yeah. Now you say, but it's earrings. What's the problem? Draws attention. No one should be doing anything to draw attention to themselves. And if they do, and someone looks or smells or this or that, they transgress by doing it. There's no question. Well, someone like, put on a woman puts on a lot of perfume, let's say, right? And she stinks to high heaven. Yeah, she walks by and someone turns around. So the guy that looks, that's his fault. 100% guilty. Guilty, it's forbidden. Yeah. But the fact she's putting a stumbling block in front of someone else, that's putting a stumbling block. The guy shouldn't be looking. 100%. Say it's not my fault. Okay. But, that's causing someone to look. Right? I don't necessarily think it would apply to to a non-Jew. I don't think it's a good thing to do either way. Right? But again, we're not looking, we're not looking, in a way that we want other people to look at us. Now, there's this group of women. I mean, it's a very small group. Well, there's a group of women. People call them the shawl women. Why do they call them the shawl women? Because on top of what they wear, before obviously put it on a coat or whatever, they wear an extra layer. No matter if it's cold, it's warm, whatever. They add an extra layer. It's like a shawl. That's what it is. Looks like a shawl. Now, why would they wear that? So you can't tell anything from the body at all, right? You really can't see anything. You can't see the figure, let's say. Now, what's the problem with that? So they want to add on an extra level of modesty. Okay. So maybe some people say it's not a problem. What's the issue? The issue is, first of all, most people don't do it. Certainly don't do it. And that's causing attention to themselves, which in general terms, that's not what you want to do. And there's another form of dress called the burqa women, where they wear something that looks like a burqa. In other words, they have something on their head and it's like a shawl. It's like one big thing, like a burqa. Yeah, it's also a problem. Because, first of all, not many people do it anyway. But if anyone's ever seen, a Jewish woman dressed up that way, it calls attention. So I remember many years ago, I was by my rabbi for, it was either for Sukkot or for Passover. I don't remember which. And my oldest daughter said then, is there, what's the deal with the shawl women? These people that wear these shawls for extra modesty. So I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's not for you. You don't have to worry about it, whatever. And then after Passover, like a week later, they made a whole demonstration against them. Why did they make a whole demonstration against them? For the reason we said. Because they want to do something no one else does. Right? So they're bringing in something. They're going to say, we want to have a higher level of modesty. Beautiful. But your higher level of modesty is causing people to look at you like you're a bunch of wackos. Right? So if they're looking at you and you're causing them to look at you because of the way you dress, that defeats the purpose of what you're doing. Right? That is what, you're defeating the purpose. Yeah? You are defeating the purpose. So it's kind of funny that, my Rebbe had said, like, tongue in cheek, he said, like, yeah, don't worry, it's not for you. It's whatever, just forget about it, get out of your head, whatever. And then like a week later, 2 weeks later, they made like a whole demonstration, against it, for this, for this reason. So a lot of these things, a person wants to be careful with, even on Purim, Shulchan Aruch and Ramah say that even dressing up a child, a boy as a girl, even if they're 2 years old, even if they're 1 year old, shouldn't be done. Even for Purim, right? It shouldn't be done. I remember, it's funny. I shouldn't say it's a funny story. Still, it makes me laugh that, one Purim, so I was by my Rebbe waiting for, waiting for the bus to go back, and whatever, the place was like, just streets were packed, and a lot of people just milling around and doing who knows what. A bunch of guys from from Yeshiva come over, whatever, also waiting for a bus. And there's a guy got to be 18, 19, 20 years old, and he's dressed up in a tutu, like a ballerina. like an absolute ballerina, right? So, kind of hard not to notice, right? Grown guy in a tutu, like it's kind of, kind of hard not to notice. But, it goes against exactly what the Ramah said. Right, I'm not talking about a little kid here. It's even talking about an adult. But even on Purim, when there's more levity because people drink and whatever. Okay, but there are limits. There are limits. What a person can do. You still have to hold by Jewish law. You still have to be careful what you do. So obviously, dressing like a woman would be forbidden. Be forbidden any day of the year. I say on Purim all the more so. Very good. But you say a little kid. What does it matter? It matters, right? The rabbi's very, very stringent on that. Very, very stringent. That even by a little kid, if it's a boy, you don't dress him up as a girl. Even if they're 2 years old, even if they're 1 year old, doesn't matter. These are things that, you just don't want to do, right? You don't want to do. But, there, so, then it comes to the question, let's say, can a woman have multiple piercings on her ears? Now, normally in the Orthodox community, you won't see that, right? You see one, okay, you want to get your ears pierced, get your ears pierced, right? Nothing wrong with doing it, right? Many women have their ears pierced, unless they have problems, if they have problems like with infections or different things, right? But they get their ears pierced, okay, right? But again, you're not looking to draw attention. So if you have multiple piercings, that'll draw attention. That for sure will draw attention. Not to mention, so that you could tell me, okay, maybe there's more leeway. Maybe there's more leeway. Why? It's earrings. So let's say you have a second piercing. Let's say we have five. And you have earrings coming down here. Okay, it's a little bit much. What if you had a second piercing? Let's say you had a second piercing. Like, is that going to be the end of the world? That's mutilation of the body? Probably not. Probably not. But again, most people don't do it. Most people don't do it. What about piercing other parts of your body? Piercing your tongue. Piercing, I don't know, belly button, right? We'll keep this clean. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any problem with that? Now, those places don't normally get pierced. No matter what this generation does. It's something that's not done, right? Even if we live in, we're living in Sodom. Okay. So you say, a bunch of people do it. You get a lot of people do it. When I was in the States, I was living in the States. I had to go somewhere. There was somebody there. I can't, they had piercings. This woman had piercings, eyebrows, ears, nose, probably other places. Who knows what? I mean, it's like very hard to, not notice. Not that I was looking, right? But when you start piercing other parts of the body that are not pierced, that like nobody pierces, in general, then that becomes mutilation of the body. I remember there's a guy who did it. This guy had a tongue ring and whatever, eventually got rid of it. But he once told me that when he first got it, it was very sensitive to either something cold or something hot. So he said, yeah, if I drink hot coffee, it'll like burn it. I'm like, yeah, it serves you right. Serves you right for doing it. Can't imagine, how painful that might be, getting a tongue ring. But again, these things would come underneath mutilation of the body, right? Things that are not normally pairs. You know, we wouldn't necessarily say that by a nose ring. I don't think we necessarily say it by that, but the fact that people don't do it, in general, so it shouldn't be done. But certainly a tongue ring would be mutilation of the body because nobody does that in general. Belly button ring, that's certainly that would be considered I would say mutilation of the body as well. So whatever, this generation, or let's say even better, person has long hair. Person has a rat tail. That was like one of the worst things the person could do when I was growing up. They grew a rat tail. They grew they braided their hair in the back, like a long braid. I have long hair. Now, what's the issue? Is there any issue with having long hair? There's more of an issue of having a lot of hair right here by your forehead, where a guy puts on tefillin, right? That's to be between, right? It's going to be, it's going to be between the eyes, right? Now, if you have a lot of hair here, what's going to happen? What's going to be the problem? Problem is there's a chatzitza. It's considered a barrier between you and your head, so to speak. If you have a lot of hair, if you don't have so much hair there, right? Okay, right? But if you have a significant amount of hair, or a person, let's say they're bald. They don't want to go around looking bald. They put on a toupee, right? Wig for men, right? We call it a toupee. That's what they call it. Yeah. So that would be a problem. Why are you going to say? You're going to say, well, it's like their hair, but it's not. It's not their hair, right? Therefore, it's not their hair. It's like a barrier between them, between the tefillin and their head, right? So a lot of times you'll see people. I mean, you should see people. Guys that even if they even if they need a haircut, they should not have too much hair right here when you put on tefillin, right? Around where you put it down, that's not a problem, right? The point is that the head of the tefillin have to go right here. It has to hit the head. And if you have too much hair there, there's they got another problem, right? There's no matter how much it grows. So if you have too much hair there, there's a barrier, right? It has to be between your eyes, not on your hair, right? Even if the Torah says you're gonna make frontlets between your eyes, which we understand is tefillin, very good, right? But it's got to go between your eyes. Between your eyes means on your head, not with very little hair underneath to make that a barrier. Otherwise, the tefillin won't do their job. So there are a number of things that this applies to. Even though the Torah says, men shouldn't wear women's clothing and men and women wearing men's clothing, there are many many ramifications. Oh, so we said before about a rat tail, right? That was like when I was in high school. So that was probably maybe one of the worst things someone could do is they could have a rat tail or an earring, right, for a guy, or a tattoo even, right? And most people that got tattoos were sailors back in the day. Yeah, well, most people didn't get tattoos. Today, very hard to find anyone that doesn't have tattoos. But in any case, so someone had long hair. They had whatever, they had like a ponytail. That's what we call it, ponytail. Okay. Now the fact that there's no hair up here to make a problem for tefillin, good. So let's say that part is shaved. Let's say, yeah, but they have a ponytail. They have a ponytail. Is there anything wrong for a guy to have a ponytail? You can say so. He's got long hair. Very good. Well, he's not Nazarite. Can't be a Nazarite. Right? Nazarite doesn't cut their hair for 30 days or more. Right? Can't make a Nazarite vow. They wouldn't have a temple to bring sacrifices. So a person made the Nazarite vow, they're going to be stuck. Right? No possible way to permit it. So you never even cut your hair, drink wine, or grape juice. And I'm sure many people bothered by the fact they won't be able to go to the cemetery. Right? So that would be I'm sure people are upset about that. But, is there an issue? A person had a ponytail. Right? What would be the issue? Exactly this. Because women grow their hair long. That's not a problem for women. They can have long hair. Right? I would say that's the norm, that that they have long hair. Certainly much more the norm than a guy has long hair. Yeah. I mean, you can have hippies, whatever. But I'm not talking about long beards. I'm talking about hair. So in this case, we'd say it's forbidden. Why is it forbidden? Because that's what women do. Women have long hair. If they have hair, it's normally long, right? Type in a ponytail, whatever. However it's done and used and styled and whatever, there are women have long hair, right? So a man having long hair is like what women do. So that would be forbidden. So basically anything, cologne is also an interesting question. Is putting on cologne for a guy, is that a problem? You got, Brutes, Fabergé, right? Put on cologne, right? Is that a problem? Right? Made for men, obviously, right? If it's made for men. Now, some rabbinic authorities would say, no, right? I wouldn't say put a lot on that everyone should smell you. I wouldn't go that far, right? But some would say if it's made for men, not a problem. Others would say it doesn't matter. The fact is, women use perfume on themselves. So therefore, even if it's made for a guy, you shouldn't use it. Definitely shouldn't use it. And I would tell you it's difference of opinion. Among rabbinic authorities, that there are leniencies. There are leniencies. The person wants to put on, you know, polo. I don't know if they still make polo, whatever. Put on polo, brute, whatever. A little bit of it. Not, I wouldn't say like you're caking yourself. You put a little bit on. Okay. You walk by someone, not going to say, oh, not going to give a big sniff over here. So there are rabbinic authorities that say it's okay. Other people would say no, just like women do. Deodorant, totally different issue. Even if it's got a nice smell, it doesn't matter. It's there to protect the body, or let's say better protect other people from your smell, right? So it's deodorant, antiperspirant, whatever. So good, that's not a problem. Even if it's scent, it's not a problem because that's the benefit for everybody. Not just yourself. So that would come under that category. So there's a question by perfume, by even perfume for men, right? Even by perfume for men. Because again, that's what women do, and we want to be very careful. We want to be very careful not to do. Men shouldn't do what what women do, and that's that's a pretty serious thing. Today it's crazy. Sometimes sometimes you can't tell. You can't tell if it's a man or a woman. Just by the way they dress. I remember once. One of my trips back to the States when I was living here. And I saw someone, I looked once, I looked twice. I was like, oh, it's cross-dresser. Like, certain things gave it away, but, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. Right? But even by dress, like, you go somewhere where there are a lot of secular Jews. Right? I think there's a mixture. Secular Jews and Jews. By the way people dress, you won't be able to tell. You won't be able to tell who's Jewish, who's not. They all dress the same. Right? They all dress the same. And that's one of the things, by the way, that kept the Jews Jewish, before they got the Torah, kept them strong in Egypt. Right? One of them is they didn't change their dress. They didn't dress like the Egyptians. They didn't change their names. They kept their names the same, language the same, and they kept Rosh Chodesh, kept the new month. Right? So the way they dress, the way we dress distinguishes us from everybody else. Now, someone will say, come on, I'm on Orthodox community, they dress like everyone else. People have yellow shirts, pink shirts, blue shirts, maybe they'll wear a white shirt on, for Shabbos, for the sake of Shabbos. Okay. Yeah. But they dress like everybody else. The only difference is, they have tzitzis and they wear a yarmulke. Very good. Skull cap, beanie, kippah, whatever you want to call it. So very good. But a lot of times, even with that, they dress like everybody else. Unless you see like they have a yarmulke on or they're wearing tzitzis, you wouldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell if they were Jewish or not. And again, there are a lot of things that we do that distinguishes us from the non-Jews. All the anti-Semites, Jewish or non-Jewish, they all say the same thing. What did Haman say? We just finished the holiday of Purim. Some people still recovering a little bit, but hopefully fully recovered by now. What did Haman say? What did Haman say in the book of Esther? What did he tell Ahasuerus? It's a nation. They're spread out. They don't keep your laws, right? They don't eat your foods, etc. Like, just get rid of them. And the Jewish anti-Semites, what do they say? If you act more like non-Jews, they'll love us. Yeah, dress like them, eat like them, marry their women, vice versa, whatever. Right? They all say the same thing. And if not, you're going to make it bad for us. That's why it's going to be so much anti-Semitism, because we're not like them. We're different, right? What did Moshe Mendelssohn say? He said, "You want to be a Jew? You want to be religious? Good. Do it in your house, behind closed doors. Do not show yourself in public as a Jew. Be like everybody else. Now, how did that work out for the Jews in Germany and all over Europe? It didn't work out so well. Yeah. They couldn't understand. They said, listen, we fought in your wars. We married your women. We went to your schools. We did all these things. What did Hitler Yamach Shemov? His name be brought out, may rot wherever he is. He didn't care. If you had, half Jewish blood, quarter Jewish blood, if you had Jewish blood, you deserve to die. Doesn't matter. Right? But that is partially the point. You want to be like them. You want to be like them. You want to dress like them. You want to eat like them. They'll destroy you. You'll see. You'll see they'll destroy you. There's an old axiom. The axiom is if the Jews don't make Kiddush, meaning, right, they don't keep Shabbos. They don't make Kiddush Friday night. The non-Jews make Havdalah. What is Havdalah? The last service of Shabbos. Havdalah literally means to distinguish, right? You distinguish between Shabbos and every day. So if you don't make Kiddush, if a Jew doesn't make Kiddush, they're going to let you know. They will distinguish you and call you out. I think you didn't make Kiddush. They'll call you out just for being a Jew, even if you're a secular Jew, which to me, was mind-boggling. Because I was like one of 3 people in a high school of like 1,000 kids. That were Jewish, wasn't religious per se. At that point, and people make comments. The most intelligent people made comments, and it's a mind-boggling thing. Like, I'm not wearing it on my sleeve. Not like I'm dressed up the way I am now, or back then it wasn't. So like, what do they care? Like, why does that have to be something? That someone's going to say? And anti-Semitism does not have to be rational, because you see that some will say, we hate the Jews because they're in charge of money and they have so much money and this and that, so we hate Jews. We're jealous. Okay. Now, what if Jews are in a country they have no money? Yeah, and many of them are poor. They're bleeding us dry. They're on welfare. They're on these government programs. So you can't talk out, from both sides of your mouth, right? That you can't do, right? So if you have 2 contradictory things, they're saying about Jews that totally polar opposites, that can't be the reason they hate Jews. It has to be something else, right? But again, it happens all the time. People say, all kinds of things are totally contradictory. Totally contradictory. So anti-Semitism is not rational. Doesn't have to be rational. Even what Yaakov did, to Esav, that he, hated Yaakov, right? Esav hates Yaakov. That goes for all generations, right? Until the Messiah comes. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. But even so, his mother was a prophetess. He listened to his mother, right? She told him what to do. Now, Rav Cutler in one of his sermons on Purim, blessed memory, says that the fact that Esav was very upset, and he cried and he said to his father, "Don't you have a blessing for me?" Again, he didn't deserve the blessing, first of all, right? Second of all, he listened to his mother. His mother was a prophetess. So the fact that it happened through him and it made Esav get upset and cry, Yaakov had problems later because of it. But he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything wrong. He did what his mother told him to do. So he listened to his mother. That was the other thing. Kibudei, honoring his mother, very good. And she had prophecy, right? But still, the fact that he caused Esav pain, right, caused him problems. Caused him problems later. So whatever you want to say, that Esav hates Yaakov, and that's going to be for all generations till the Messiah comes. Yeah, sometimes it'll be better, sometimes not. Okay, right? That's fine. But it doesn't mean it has to, it's rational. Because you see so many things say, I mean, Israel goes into Gaza, from the river to the sea. They don't know which river or which sea, which is kind of silly. But, all of a sudden, people start taking over universities and all these other things. Well, what does one thing have to do with another? They lost 1,200 people, one shot. In one shot, not to mention all the captives. And what they did now, they mutilated people and all kinds of things. Or, The fact that they went into Gaza, they had a right to go into Gaza. Anyone would have done the same thing. Yeah. But the hatred, the venom, the absolute venom, yeah. But not to be rational. You can prove to them beyond the shadow of a doubt there's no such thing as Palestinians, and go prove that up to Gazoot. Nobody's listening. But they don't know anything about their own history. They just repeat the same things. It's ironic. It's very ironic. And the fact that even they go back in Gaza, they kill 200 people, most of them terrorists. If they use human shields, nobody cares. Nobody cares. That they're using human shields, right? So what does that show beyond the shadow of a doubt? It shows you can't rely on man. That's what it shows, right? You cannot rely on man. You got to put your best foot forward, okay? Right? But at the end of the day, so many things don't make any sense. Yeah, we just had a siren here. They had a bunch of sirens, I guess, in Tel Aviv. Things coming from Gaza, but America bombed the heck out of the Houthis. Okay, they sent one missile, and they knocked it out before it got into Israeli airspace. But the fact that it could have gone here, there, whatever. So a siren, a siren went off 4:00 in the morning to boot, right? Siren goes off, and I don't know. As far as I know, it didn't hit anything, right? It didn't. No one got hurt from it. Probably hit an open area somewhere. But one missile. One thing, there's any hundreds of missiles, this and that. There hasn't been a missile here in 2 months. There haven't been any sirens anywhere. Anywhere. But they have to obviously back their own, quote unquote, their brethren. So they got to show they're doing something, right? Obviously, how many missiles can they have? Yeah, but without getting to politics, it's annoying. It's 13 people got injured just trying to run to shelters. It's 4 a.m. I was like, I said to someone this morning, I was like, come on, I can't train these people to do it in broad daylight. At least when people are awake. No, it makes it more fun in the middle of the night. So this is what's going to be. I don't see anything miraculously changing here. So they're going to have to go back in and try and finish it as best as they can. Whatever hostages are left. But it's not a rational thing. It's pure hatred. It's totally not rational at all. And history proves that beyond the shadow of a doubt. But it's amazing. We don't care about the UN, and of course the UN is going to condemn them. For going in. They've broken every single agreement they've ever said. So it's not like what do you expect? If this would happen, I always say, if this would happen, between Mexico and Texas, and they were sending missiles, if you're not taking hostages and killing people, yeah, they were sending missiles in. They're America wouldn't stand for it. Flatten them like a pancake, flatten them like a pancake, put up a Taco Bell and say, we're even. That's it. Right? Or no more burritos. I wouldn't, take any lip from this. But, they shouldn't have, pretty amazing. They somehow they got more, they still have some more missiles in Gaza. They thought they destroyed most of it. But this is exactly why, they have to have a presence there, because otherwise just keep doing this over and over again. It doesn't stop. Right? It just can't function that way, especially if you live very close there. If they shoot a missile and it goes into one of these communities near Gaza, you got 15 seconds. You got 15 seconds before it's going to hit something or potentially hit something. Right? You don't have any time. So even if they would send a missile from there, there would be sirens in Jerusalem. You're a minute and a half. You're a minute and a half. Yeah, you're close. You're close. They're in Ashkelon. You're in Haifa. You're in any of these places that are much closer. Right? Let's say Ashkelon's pretty close. But any of these other places near Gaza, you don't have any time. You have seconds before something could hit. Nobody live like that. Why should you have to live like that? And of course, because of our occupation. Right? Again, I would say one of the biggest, well, I consider top 3 the biggest lies in the history of man. Someone asks, how thought we supplied food and necessary before? Yeah. So they had all these, what do you call it? All these humanitarian trucks. And, Biden put a lot of pressure on them, so they upped the ante with all these. They weren't starving. I mean, you have pictures there; they were not starving by any stretch. But who's taking the food? I mean, there were people that got killed driving trucks there because Hamas killed them. They stole the food. I thought, what are you supposed to do? I mean, they're killing their own people, which they don't care about. Where, again, I wouldn't say it's so surprising, sad, right? It's extremely sad, but that's what it is. How are you gonna end it? It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Again, not to mention still have hostages there. And they're holding dead bodies to boot. Like, who owns dead bodies? Yeah, they usually use bargaining chips. I understand, but it's just you deal with crazy people. That's it's just the bottom line. That's just that's just the bottom line. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a unibrow. Should I keep it cut off?
If it bothers you,
No, it don't bother me at all.
so then you don't have to. If you want to keep it, if you want to keep it and you don't want to trim it, you don't need to trim it, then it's not a problem. The only issue with the unibrow is if it bothers someone. If it bothers them and they want to, they want to, they want to trim it or get someone to trim it, that's, that's not a problem. If they want to keep it, also not a problem. Right? Also not a problem. It's only for cosmetic things that if a person would change something. If it would be for cosmetic reasons, then seemingly it should be a problem, which is another issue. Now that I'm reminded, another issue. Let's say cosmetic surgery. Right? Can a woman do cosmetic surgery? You see people do it, Botox and and other things, right? So there's a whole discussion there because essentially, whatever you're doing to fix the body, you're also also wounding the body to a certain extent. So it would have to be pretty dire circumstances to do. I'm not even talking about a guy. I'm talking about I'm talking about a woman. So that even for a woman, according to most rabbinic authorities, unless it's like an absolute need, right, should be forbidden. Which reminded me of something else. Oh, dyeing your hair. Yeah. So for a woman, there are women that dye their hair. Okay. Right? A guy's not allowed to do that, right? Because again, that's what women do. There's the whole question the Gemara brings out that if a person was selling a slave, you wanted to make him look younger, so like you dye his hair, that's forbidden. Not just because you're doing it to a to a guy, but obviously you're misleading someone. They think they're getting someone who's 25 years old, and he's really like 55. You just you can't tell, and then they dye their hair. Plenty of guys dye their hair. They definitely dye their hair because they want to look younger. Anyone remembers those old Pete Rose commercials, right? Grecian formula, right? Dyes hair. Dyes hair. So that guy can't do it. That's forbidden. That 100% is forbidden because that's definitely what women do. Can I get a hair transplant? That's actually an interesting question because again, depending how they do it under someone that's whatever used to get shots and whatever, if it would grow hair, let's say, is that necessarily a problem? You're making a wound? I don't know. I don't know if that necessarily be, is that considered like cosmetic surgery? Maybe, maybe to look into it more, whether it be forbidden. Women are not going to do that, so that's not an issue if that's what women would do. But it could be making a wound potentially. That might be an issue. That might be an issue. But yeah, so dyeing a person's hair would be a problem for a guy. Certainly for a guy. Women want to do it. They want to look younger or whatever. If they don't cover their hair, let's say, not married or whatever, they want to look younger, so they're allowed to. Right? That's what women do. Some women. I'm not saying everybody does it, but it's more of a common thing for sure that women do than men. So certainly for a guy, it'll be forbidden. So people said by me that I grade early, relatively early. So they say if a person, let's say if a guy grades earlier, so common rule of thumb is, if you grade early, Must be a big, rabbinic scholar. So someone said, well, it's either that, right? A person had, let's say, a lot of aggravation in their life. So if you have a lot of aggravation, you can turn white also. I mean, I'm not saying overnight, but whatever. So someone said, yeah, by you, it's probably aggravation. I said, yeah, probably. Probably. But anyway, can you get Turkish teeth? Why not? Why would it be forbidden? Implants. Who cares where they come from? It doesn't matter. You're giving them business, that'd be a different issue. But should we give people that support terrorists or whatever? Should we give them business? That's a you don't know that the money's going there, but it's certainly not for idolatry. So like, why not? Right? That wouldn't be a lot of people go to Turkey, by the way, for hair transplants. I don't know. They supposedly got a lot of success with doing hair transplants there. But yeah, teeth or other things, yeah, why not? I don't see why would be why would be a problem, first thing. Question by, let's say, a blood transfusion for a Jew. Should have, get blood, transfusion from a Jew, not from a non-Jew. But there's a whole controversy here years ago when Ethiopians came, and many Ethiopians came. So a lot of the blood that they had, stored, they they got rid of. The Israelis got rid of. Why they get rid of it? Because they're afraid of AIDS. They were afraid of AIDS, got rid of it. So it was a huge scandal. It's a huge scandal that they got rid of all this, destroyed, all this blood because they were afraid of what do you call it? They were afraid of AIDS. So yeah, that could be a real issue. But and again, it would be better to get Jewish blood. I would think so. But if a person didn't, they didn't. It's not. I'm gonna say it's totally forbidden. Per se. Yeah. So Turkish teeth shouldn't be. Um, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. I assume you mean. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Um, um, yeah, it's dental implants. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. So I guess going to Turkey to do it. Yeah. So I mean, people go there to get crowns. I don't know, get other things for the teeth. So why not? Why shouldn't it be forbidden? Yeah, not used for idolatry. Yeah, if not used for idolatry, what would be the issue? Just that you're giving them business? I don't know. I don't know if that should be a problem. We're trying. There's a whole question also. It's better to give Jewish people, Jewish people business than non-Jews. So yeah, even if it would cost more, you want to give them, you want to give them livelihood, help them with livelihood. Yeah, you gotta say, oh, it's discrimination. Well, you got more non-Jews out there, per capita than Jews, right? So that's not an issue. But the same quality. Let's say the same quality, a choice between a Jewish product and non-Jewish product. I would take a Jewish product. If it's let's say 10-20% more, and there's no difference in the quality, then you don't have any obligation even for the fact that it's Jewishly made, right? You wouldn't have that obligation. There are people that let's say if they have companies try and hire Jewish workers, but at the same time there could be conflicts because if the rootest person, they got a bigger family, you want to pay them more, whatever. But like you can't necessarily pay them more. I mean, you can run into conflicts, but I would say all things being equal, we're going to look after our own first. That's what most people would probably do. But again, if it's the same, or let's say the non-Jew is better qualities or whatever, you take the best person for the job. You know, you don't even though you can help a Jew with his livelihood and this and that, the other person is more qualified. You know, unless you're willing to take someone on and work with them and teach them and train them and train them to be better or whatever. I don't it's a nice thing to do. I would say it's a nice thing to do, but you don't have, according to Torah, you don't have an obligation. There wouldn't be any obligation. Do such. It's a good thing to do, but certainly not an obligation. Yeah. Any other Any other questions? So there means you mean super white Hollywood style crown veneers. I don't know. A person wants to have a brighter smile. They want to look better. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why that would be forbidden. Shouldn't be forbidden. I would think it shouldn't be forbidden. Yeah, and the reason is it's not like we're going to say, oh, that's what women do, so it would be forbidden for that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. It's better. They want to look better. It's not cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery is different. Oh, maybe it is. It's similar. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is similar to cosmetic surgery. And here, the person's, is going to be in pain, potentially pain, doing it, and your gums will bleed probably. So, if that would come under, cosmetic surgery or not, someone asks, does the cosmetics fall under vanity with for health reasons? Yeah. Yeah. So if it would be cosmetic, you're right. If it would be cosmetics, like cosmetic surgery, yeah. So then it would be forbidden. Then it would be forbidden. And that is, I have to look into it more. I would think that's probably the case. That's probably the case. Who says you have to spend all kinds of money, even if it's not a lot, to make your teeth look white? I don't know if that's really. I would think it's more like something cosmetic. If it's something like it's cosmetic, then I would say yeah. Then it shouldn't be done. Then definitely shouldn't be done. I'm trying to think of any other reason you would have it done. I don't know. You want it to look better. You want it to look better. That's the yeah. That I would think would be cosmetic, and if it'd be cosmetic, yeah, that would be a problem. That would be a problem. That's probably what it is. I mean, I'll look into it more, but that's what I would think. It's cosmetic. You're doing it just to look better. It's um, if a person, let's say, the only case I would say maybe it's all right is like this case of of unibrow. It bothers them, right? It bothers them that their, let's say, their teeth are discolored. And they want it to look better. It bothers them. Yeah. We could say that's the same thing as cosmetic. Yeah, could be. Could be. Yeah, I'll look into that more. But I would think it comes on a cosmetic surgery. Someone says how's proper breathing, eating in proper alignment. If that's the case, then that's not cosmetic, right? That's like getting it's like having what do you call it? Orthodontia, right? You're fixing them. You're fixing the teeth to align them. That's a different issue. That's not cosmetic. A person like me, I had buck teeth. I was in third grade, fourth grade. I had braces on, braces with a retainer, with the headgear. So I didn't get them off till after my bar mitzvah. It was like right after my bar mitzvah. I had them on for 3 years. So that's not cosmetic. Definitely not cosmetic. Cause other problems, right? Cause other problems in your mouth. That's a different issue. That you're fixing a problem. If it's doing it just to make it look good, that's a different issue, right? That's So this type of thing, a person wants to get their teeth whitened, yeah, or whatever, implants make it look really good. That probably is more cosmetic. It's not, you're not doing it because you want to straighten out the teeth. That's not why you're doing it, right? But anything for the sake of you know straighten out your teeth and making your mouth look all right, that's a different issue. That's a different issue. You're fixing the mouth, right? You're definitely fixing the mouth. No one's going to leave buck teeth unless you have no money, or no way to pay for it. Buck teeth is going to cause you problems. It will cause problems later. So yeah, that's not cosmetic. Yeah, if a person just wanted just to make it look nicer, okay, that's cosmetic. But if it's a serious issue in alignment, then Any dentist will tell you, it's going to cause problems later because you don't have alignment and other teeth coming in and this and that, whatever. Yeah. So that's a different issue. That's definitely a different issue. Right. Orthodontics is good for overall health. Right. Right. But again, there are a number of issues with that. So yeah, that's fixing it up. That's all cosmetics. Right. Anything that should be or what we would define as cosmetics would be a problem. Should be a problem. Right. Unless there are other circumstances. Let's say a person got discolored teeth, really bad discolored teeth, and they want to get married and it looks bad. That's not necessarily, so you say, well, it's cosmetics, but okay. But, if they feel that's preventing them from getting married, maybe, somebody will marry someone with crummy teeth, so, maybe that would be all right. Same thing with the unibrow. Person's dating, they could trim it, or they could trim it because it bothers them, right? So if it doesn't bother them, then yeah, okay. Right? But there would be circumstances to say it should be okay, but they're very specific, right? It's not a blanket thing. Oh, it bothers you, do it. No, because it comes under cosmetics, right? It would definitely come under cosmetics. Yeah. Any other questions? How do you politely decline marriage offers, although you're interested? I can tell you're not ready to date. So when I'm ready to date, maybe, but I would say even easier, right? If you're talking about people that are Jewish, you say, well, I'm not dating until I convert, so I don't have any problems, right? So there are no issues. If it's something, someone's a non-Jewish, yeah, different ways to do it. You can say, listen, that'd be the easiest way out of it. It's just, saying the process of conversion, I can't do anything until afterwards. And, if it comes up, we'll deal with it after conversion. But, right now I'm not, focusing on studies and focusing on other things. I'm not, that's not where I'm focusing right now. How do you do that without disclosing my in-conversion status? Tell me you're gay. Kidding. They may set you up with a guy. That'd be a problem. So how would you do that? How would you do that? How would you do that without telling your status? I don't know. Maybe you could say like your personal issues are trying to work through, and till you work through them, you're not going to date. I don't think maybe you're weird. Maybe you got psychological problems. I don't know. Other things. I don't know. Think about that more. Think about that more. Um, I don't know. I'll think about it. Yeah. Any other? See, you're in the process of changing. Yeah, changing gender. That might throw them off a little bit. That yeah. I don't know if I wouldn't say that, but I don't know. I'll think about that. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I'm gonna stop here. I just every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Now it's 4 o'clock Israel time to the end of next week. So we change the clocks. Otherwise be at 5 o'clock Israel time. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on Q&As, ethics for our fathers. Book of Leviticus, you want to send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Wish everyone good.